This is an event that I hope we can do every year. I believe it's important to keep our community up to date on what's going on at the school. We are excited to be here. We're all a new team here. All of us are new except Kelly and Patty, who have been here, but Patty's just now coming on as our Dean of Curriculum, and Kelly's been here for several years as our Dean of Admissions. Director of Admissions. Too many deans. But again, welcome. My name's Tom Carone. I am the new president here at Villanza St. Joseph. Prior to this, I spent 12 years as president of St. Vincent St. Mary in Akron, Ohio. And I got tired of that 5-minute drive, and I wanted to drive an hour to work. So my dream has come true. With me tonight is our new principal, Lorenzo Jones. Again, Patty Markson, who's our Dean of Curriculum. Kelly Wotropski, who is Director of Admissions, and Mike Gavin, who is our Dean of Student Life. So what we'll do tonight is we'll tell you a little bit about ourselves. I'll give you a quick state of the school. We have some questions that came in prior to tonight that we're going to answer, and then we'll open the floor up, and hopefully the questions won't be too tough, and we'll go from there. But again, thank you for being here. There's food, drinks, chips, all kinds of goodies back there, cookies. Help yourself. Feel free to get up during the event. With that, I'll turn it over to Lorenzo Jones.
Good evening. How you doing? I'm Lorenzo Jones. I am the interim principal here at VASJ by way of Holy Name Elementary principal, St. Thomas Aquinas, and all schools in the city of Cleveland. Also, I work for the Positive Education Program where I was a coordinator director there, which is really a principal. So I've been through the system a long time now, and I'm very welcome and happy to be here. Background, played a little professional basketball in Italy for 7 years. Got my degrees at University of Minnesota, then went on to Cleveland State, got master's, got my administration at Ursuline. So I've been around the block a long time. This is what I love to do, and I have no choice but to do it because I love it. And I always say, if you love what you do, you got to do it. And I do it every day. I wake up every morning, and I do drive a good ways like Tom myself. I was 3 minutes away from work, now I'm 45 minutes away. I guess we just both like to drive. But my wife like it because the longer I'm away from home, she says she's happy. So, but other than that, this is something that it happened, and I can't even really explain it. I came over on May 20, what was the picnics? Somewhere in the 20s. I came over as the Dean of Students. That was my job that I applied for coming into VASJ. And then the past administration stepped down. The diocese said, hey, Lorenzo, you've been a principal before. What do you think? I said, you know what? I'll do it because I love a great challenge and I love kids. So this was a good opportunity for me, and I'm hoping to be here a long time. I'm going to pass it over to Patty Markson, our Dean of Academics.
Thank you. I'm Patty Markson. I'm the Dean of Academics here at VASJ. I've actually been here in the building for the better part of 20 years as a teacher, the chair of the accreditation team, the chair of the English department, and a variety of other roles. And then when Lorenzo became the principal, he stopped up in my room and told me that I was going to be his Dean of Academics, and I couldn't say no, and then he walked out. So it took me about a month, but then I said yes. So I'm pleased to be involved with the administration. This is my home. I do not drive far. North Collinwood is my neighborhood, and this is my neighborhood school, so I live right here in the community. I see a lot of my families when I'm out. And I see a lot of my students when I'm out. My husband says we can't go anywhere without running into a student or a parent, and that I chat with everyone along the way. So anyway, I'm very pleased to be here, and I'm pleased with the role that I've been given, and I'm looking forward to making sure that VASJ is on the rise and that we increase our academics and our rigor here on the campus. So I'm going to hand you over to Kelly.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Kelly Wotropski. I am a 2003 graduate of VASJ. I've been director of admissions, I want to say 7 years here now. I started off as an alumni coordinator position when I first came on board. It was a big dream of mine and actually a pleasure now to give back to a school that gave me so much in my 4 years here. So I love it here. I love the students. They're like my own children. I love them very much. We're a family, and it's noticeable. And when you're in the building, you feel it. You feel it when you walk in, and it's just a wonderful place to be. So I'm very glad to be here and building our enrollment and seeing us grow. I'm going to hand you over to Mike Gavin, who's our Dean of Students.
Thanks, Kelly. Hi, everyone. Great to meet you all tonight. Pleasure to be here. I am the Dean of Students, and I come here via Our Lady of the Elms down in Akron, where I was the principal / academic dean down there for 3 years. I, too, had that drive. Next, I met Tom down there when he was down there at the Akron St. Vincent St. Mary. But before I was at the Elms, I was at St. Ignatius High School for 26 years, where I was the academic dean. I taught English there for 16 years, and I was the alumni director there for 5 years. So that puts me in the diocese for almost 34 years. I like to think back about my journey and what I've been, who's affected me, and I think about the societies, the religious orders that I've had. And I went to St. Clair Elementary School in Lyndhurst, where the Ursulines were, and then on to St. Ignatius for the Jesuits. And then I went to St. Bonaventure to try out the Franciscans. And then when I was at Our Lady of the Elms, it was a venture with the Dominicans, the Dominican sisters. And now I feel full circle with the Ursulines here, but now also the Marianists. So it's been great to be welcomed here. I am here because of Lorenzo, who I got to know through the principal meetings. And when he was looking for someone for his team, I thought the energy of having some new people here and some people who know what's going on, I wanted to be part of that. So I'm looking forward to checking out what's going well, seeing what needs to be tweaked, and working with the team here to make this the great place to be. Thank you.
Thank you. So you can see we have quite a team here. I know I'm honored every day to drive here, be here, and it's an interesting journey for me. I spent nearly 28 years in corporate America and traveled the globe and had an amazing job. And about 12 and a half years ago, I got a call from the board of directors at St. Vincent St. Mary, which happens to also be my alma mater, as well as our 2 daughters. And they said, Tom, we're in trouble. Can you come down and take a look at stuff? And I said, sure, in my spare time. But again, long story short, through all that, did an audit. I'm an accountant by trade. Don't hold that against me. But I moved from accounting into general management, into VP of operations, and again, had an amazing career and had every intention of staying there. But I am a very religious man, thank you, Mom and Dad. I went to Catholic grade school, Catholic high school, as did our daughters. I met the most amazing woman in the world, let's say a long time ago. We just celebrated our 41st anniversary. And she, too, will tell you, as Lorenzo's wife, the secret is I'm never home, just a joke. At least I hope it's a joke. So, again, Catholic education, I know what it did for me. I know what it did with many of my friends. And one thing about Catholic schools, and I think it's true of all schools, here I am 45 years later, and we still get together on weekends. And in many times we still think we're 18, and then our wives remind us that we're not. But the stories get better. The guy that rushed for 100 yards that game is up to, I think, 400. But who remembers and who cares? You know, the stories were good. And again, when it came time to make a decision, do I stay in corporate America, or do I really take a challenge? And again, I backed up and said, wow, what did Catholic education do for me? And you know what? I want to give back. And it was a big adjustment. But I tell you, people say, is there anything you wish you'd have done different in your life? And I say, yeah, I wish I went into Catholic education right out of college. Because it's about the kids. Make no mistake about it. Everything you'll hear tonight, every question that's been asked, every question that any of you asked tonight, it's all about the kids. And what I found most interesting in education is if you have a bad day in corporate America, you just have a bad day. I don't have many bad days in Catholic education, but if I did, I walked out to the student center and reminded myself why I'm there. And the kids are amazing. So I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. Some of the things that have gone on this summer already. I think Kelly said we're a family, and I know that's a cliche that most Catholic schools use. But I can tell you what, it's true. It's true of any Catholic school I've been in. I've been here 4 months. I feel like I've been here 10 years. I met this guy July 1st, actually a couple of weeks before I called him. I said, hello, this is Lorenzo? He goes, yeah, it was Tom. Oh, hi. Had no idea we went to the same barber. and we just hit it off right away. And so, again, it's very important, and I think everybody understands. I gave my motto real simple the first day. No surprises. Anything that's going on the business side, this gentleman knows about it. Anything that's going on the academic side, we all talk, we all know what's going on. And I'm not an academic person. I won't even pretend to be. So I rely heavily on this amazing staff. I'm a business guy, I'm a numbers guy, but most importantly, I'm a people person and I care about the kids, as we all do. That's why we're here. Believe me, anybody in Catholic school, or any school, but especially Catholic school education, if you're an administrator, it's because you love it. I mean, it's long hours, a little bit of stress. Okay, a lot of stress. Lorenzo and I both had a full head of hair when we started. I mean, but again, stress is on how you handle it. And if you take a step back, any issue that's going on, you can find a solution. And you find it the right way. You don't hear us yelling and screaming. Kids are kids. Anyone in the room that was a student in high school that never made a mistake, raise your hand. I don't see any hands. I know I made some. Definitely made some. But you learn from them, and I believe in Catholic education. So what did we do this summer? When I got here, I couldn't believe what was going on this campus. I mean, the technical building across the parking lot is basically all new inside. A new amazing locker room, a new weight room that was renovated somewhat. The hallways, the offices, I was so impressed to think that this community came together and did that. Then we move inside the school, and poor maintenance guys, I don't think they call me names behind my back, but, I'm that guy that, that tile right there is cracked. Really, let's replace it. Well, it's been cracked for a long time. That's the problem. But it's those little things that make a difference. I can't tell you how many gallons of paint they had to buy this summer. I say, why isn't that painted? Well, we painted it like 4 years ago. Oh, well then it looks fine, right? And again, I joke with them, we have a good time, but the campus, every day I come in here, looks better. And then you top that off with this room. It's the Villa Angela room. And again, it's very important, the history of this school. Coming from a school that merged as well, I understand there was St. Mary and St. Vincent. When I became president there, I heard all the stories. Well, St. Mary's doesn't feel a part of it. And then you have the St. Vincent, we're St. Vincent, we're not St. Vincent, St. Mary. I get all that, but if you really peel back the layers, both the schools are so important, and that's what created this school. And it's been a great experience bringing the Villa Angela women back into the fold, so to speak. We had a high tea here a week or so ago. I lose track of time. What an event. And they were so excited to come and see this room. And now I had lunch today with the president, so to speak, of the Ursuline Sisters. And her remarks were amazing. And she says, Tom, we feel welcomed again. That's important. That's important. And it doesn't take anything away from St. Joseph. We know the history there. I remember them when I played football back in the day. It was a great game when we got to play St. Joe's. It was even better because we usually won. Just saying. And they were good. But it was always a great game. And I actually, St. Vincent St. Mary just hired a new football coach. I talked to him this morning, and I said, when are we getting on the schedule? He said, what? I said, when are we getting on the schedule? Now, I haven't told our coach yet. But from what I've seen this past season, I'll tell you what, Bill Angelo St. Joseph has a heck of a team. And I think the future is very bright. Yes, we have to work on a few things, but I think the future is very bright. And why not bring those kind of games back together? If I have my way, I want to create a Catholic league. And every game we play is against a Catholic school. And I know those can be pretty tough. It's for whatever reason, the Catholic schools play each other. It's a war. So, very impressed what's going on here. This room's one example. We finished the Martyrs Chapel. I mean, how great is that? We have 2 chapels. So we have our regular chapel, the Founders Chapel, then we have the Martyrs Chapel where you can go in there and spend some time and pray. And, well, I don't know about anybody else in this room, but I love to pray. I mean, I just do. And I have every day my whole life, again, thanks to my parents. And I find it to be very important. So those are just some of the things we've done. I can go on and on. Please take a tour of the campus. If you can't tonight, that's fine. Give me a call. And I'm serious. I'll take you on a personal tour. Any of us will. Because I want you to understand what's going on here. You know, people ask, well, how's enrollment? Okay, enrollment's not where we want it, obviously. But when you go back a few years, enrollment's come a long way. And if you look most recently, 135 freshmen, 124 sophomores. They account for 56% of our enrollment. So if we just keep that going and we just match those numbers, we'll be over 500 in 2 years. Sorry, I'm a numbers guy. And I think we can go even further than that because we need to do all we can to give these children this experience. And as I tell the students, you know, it doesn't matter if you're Catholic or not. It's that you take advantage of this institution, get God in your life, and more importantly, study like you've never studied. It can't be all the time about, well, I play football, I play basketball, I wrestle. Those are great things. But academics has to come first, and that's the message we send. So I'll talk a little bit more in a bit about our capital campaign, which has absolutely blown me away. That's going to come in a bit.
You need to dial in the
I am. I have a board member that wanted to dial in from Colorado, and I forgot. So this might be my last night. It's been nice knowing all of you. Let me take care. I have it here.
Start from the top again.
No, he's heard it.
Just heard it.
Feel free to grab some food on it. It won't take long, but.
Please enter conference. You are joining the conference with the following participants. Press pound to cancel or star to continue.
Hi, Vince.
Pronounce your name after the signal and then press any button.
Tom Carone.
Tom Carone has joined the conference.
Vince, where you been? We're waiting for you. Are you there? Sorry about that, Vince. I got to talking, and I was reminded we needed to call you. So you're on, and that's what I was thinking, but we went ahead and called you. But we'll continue on, and then have you say a few words in a bit when we get on the campaign.
Okay, yeah, I just have to leave at 7:10. My grandson's birthday tonight.
Oh, all right. Well, tell him we said happy birthday. Well, so again, I'll get more into the campaign in a minute. It's been nothing short of amazing what this community's done in a short period of time. Like I said, I've been around this a while now, and all I can say is wow. And thank you to many of you here tonight help with that, and thank you so much because what we're about to do over the next 2 to 3 years is going to change this institution like it's never been seen. And I know I'm excited about it. Everybody here is excited about it, as I'm sure you will be too when we get started. And I'll get into the timeline and some of that in a minute. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Lorenzo to say a few more things about the school itself. And then Patty will say a few words, and we will get into the questions.
When we walked in the door, I've been coming to the building 5 or 6 years. I actually been knowing the administration before for 10 years, but as I walk in the door, I always paid attention to the academics. I am an academics guy, and like I tell people, the ball start bouncing, you gotta have that degree. On that football, you can't throw it no more, you gotta have that degree, because that's your paycheck. I just actually told a senior that this, probably at 2:40 today. He was talking about going to college and going pro. But the first thing I told him is, you better have that degree, because you gotta stop throwing it one day. You gotta stop running it. So I showed him a picture in my office of me and Michael Jordan one-on-one. It's 11-by-17 when me and him played against each other. But again, at the same time, what's in my head is, you gotta stop, and you gotta learn how to read and write. So I really looked over all the rigor at the school. I'll be very candid. I went to Ms. Marks, and me and her just started talking. We started putting plans together, and I didn't even say yes to the job, but I saw what I needed to do. I'm not saying that they don't have a strong rigor. They have 98% of their kids going to college 2 and 4 years. VASJ has been an awesome job. That is awesome. To get 98%, and I did check the numbers, they are correct. There's a lot of kids going to 2-year college, and there's a lot of kids going to 4-year colleges. That's awesome, and there's some kids that's going into the military. But we looked at the rigor, and I was like, we need to stiffen this up a little bit, because the point is, I looked at Lake Catholic, St. Ignatius, St. Ed's. I look at what they're offering, and again, that's our competition. You know, we got to boost our academics here, and I'm not saying that it's down, but it could be better. I think that's where our competition stays, and I think if we build the rigor here, the kids will start coming. The kids we want to start coming. You know, everybody look at the sports part of them and say, oh, yeah, we got a great football team, they're going to come from football. Guess what? If they come from football, they got to learn how to go to class and do what I need them to do to play football. But we really have been tearing this building apart with rigor. I created 2 academic teams. Vince put one together with me, but I came in the door and I pulled my academic team together probably the 4th week of work, because we got to get it done. I know that I am the interim, but before I leave, I want to make sure it's legit. I want to make sure these kids know what's going on. So I sat with Patty and we walked through a few things, and we have to have more AP classes. We have to have more honor classes. We got to have more CCP classes. Competition is out there. You know, kids shadow our schools because they want to know what we can offer them. You know, we do have drones and robotics. But again, I got another school that's offering pilot license with that. You know, that's what we should be doing. And that's something I'm looking into. Those are the type of things. That's the competition. You know, and I hate to say this, holy name over the West Side, they have EA Sports program. You know, that's a big thing for these kids now, creating these games and this coding and all that. That's huge, and they put a big program in there. But again, we're blessed with a situation that Mr. Vince gave us. He gave us money to create a STEM lab. That's huge here. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm ready for that, because again, that's what's happening in today's world. STEM labs. You know, I know a lot of people say, well, what about the trade school, the trade and the industrial? Yes, it's still, it's awesome. You gotta have that. You gotta have those guys. Before I did this, when I went to high school, I was in electricity class. I was doing it. And I still do it on the side, but I don't have a license, I just do my own house. So if I blow up my own house, that's all right. But, you know, it's a prep school. VASJ, we turn it into a college prep school. I want these kids ready. I want them to get out in the real world and say, whoa, I got it. They taught us something. We know something. Because, you know, it's hard to say when you talk to your friends and you say, oh, I went to VASJ. Where's the fire? You know, I'm going to be very honest. I went to Catholic elementary school and then went to public high school. I went to Cleveland East High on 79th and Superior. I was one of the guys that beat Trey Lee at the section that was to knock y'all out. But, I mean, I love y'all. That's why I'm here. But again, it's about the school. It's about these kids. You know, I don't want a kid to go off to college and he struggle. Then in his head, they didn't teach me what I needed to know. And I'm gonna be very candid. I walk these halls and I go in these rooms It's a little scary for teachers, 6'7", 300 pounds. It's a little scary. But guess what? If you're doing your job, you don't have to worry about nothing. I expect you to educate these kids no matter if they're special ed, regular, however you want to call them. They're kids. They know it. They need to learn how to read and write and be able to perform in real-world situations. Because if they don't, we look bad. And again, I do not want VASJ to look bad. That's not my MO. I took a school, I worked with it, I watched the test scores go up 21% because I had teachers to buy in. We grind. They pushed it for me, and our scores went up every year, and then we finally hit a plateau at 21%. I was very happy. I gave them a day off the next day when I saw the numbers because it was very exciting to see that when this school was at the bottom. But again, it takes a lot of hard work, and it started at the top. I have to model, because if I can't model it, people ain't gonna believe me. Again, these teachers tell you I walk the halls. I don't get a lot of my work done because I'm always in the hallways. And they'll tell you, they come looking for me, where you at? I'm the stealth principal, I just creep through. One kid said, Mr. Jones, you're so big, but we don't hear you. I don't need to make noise. But again, I pay attention to academics, relationships between teachers and kids, and relationships between children. Because again, you know this, you listen to your peers, they listen to their peers. And mom and dad don't know nothing. My youngest right now, he tell me I don't know nothing. I don't even know how to play basketball. So I'm telling you, they listen to their peers. So sometimes I talk to their peers to get to them. Because it's a domino effect. Because again, let's be honest, how many got kids? If they go in the house and say, Coach told me to eat greens or spaghetti, guess what they gonna do? They gonna do what Coach said. Mama said, you should have been eating your vegetables all the time. But Coach said I gotta eat it. And that's the thing. Teachers are like coaches. Principals are like coaches. They listen. Well, my principal said, and it's amazing to hear that. I talked to a couple of seniors today, and they're telling me what college they're going to. One kid lit up when I said I was proud of him. He said, Mr. Jones, you don't know me. I said, but I'm proud of you. You don't understand. You're going to college. These are dreams that some kids have and don't do. But at the same time, here, they doing it, and I'm pushing them. I'm going to push them hard as I can. Because again, I think we can compete to other schools. I know we can. You talk to some of these kids and have a great conversation, they talk like adults, they know what they need to do. But again, every child looks for guidance. They don't know how to ask for help, they just look for guidance and structure. Kids don't say, hey, I need help. You have to really get into them and understand how to help them. So again, we went through the books, we going through, how many Chromebooks we got, all the type of stuff that's to keep us a 21st century school. We're going through all that. And again, we don't have enough Chromebooks. Yes, I'm trying to figure out how to get more. I love to be a one-on-one school. But right now, every classroom has a set amount, but again, some schools have one for each kid. We don't have that yet. But I tell you right now, if we keep doing what we're doing, we will have it. And I'm gonna tell you, it's looking good. The vibe here is very awesome. The kids speak to me all day long. How you doing, Mr. Jones? And it's so nice. Hey, sir, how you doing? I love that when I say, hey, sir, to them. And they're like, how you doing, sir? We get into those conversations, walk down, the young ladies, Mr. Jones, how you feeling today? I tell them, good for an old timer. Oh, Mr. Jones, you ain't old. And then somebody behind them say, yes, he is. So it's just, you have to be there. And you have to understand, if you've never been an educator, like I said, I taught for years before I walked into the principalship. I didn't go 5 years. I taught about 11 years so I can understand when that step comes, how to deal. And I'll tell you, to watch these kids grow at any school, it's amazing. You got to think about how your principals and teachers were. They watch you grow, and look at some of you, big time in everything, families, everything. And that's the same thing I want to see with these kids. So we're doing a lot. We created an academic team within the school. We got with Vince Pruitt, and we created academic team outside the school. where we're working with Ursuline, Dayton, and Vince, who's the other school? John Carroll. So we got Notre Dame. I mean, we got a lot at stake here. And the goal is to make sure that we have the best rigor, that we can compete with other schools. And if you have that tool, that'll bring kids in. It ain't about, oh, I can shoot a basketball. It's like, oh yeah, they're going to college over at VASJ, I want to go there. That kid who dreamed of going to college, and I ain't got nothing against public school, he tell his mom, I don't want to go to college, I want to go to VASJ. That's a sign for me. That's a sign for me. Because again, he believes in what we offer him. So again, I will be continuing, I will be walking through this building, I will be studying. You just understand, I do research almost every other day on things to understand how we operate, where we sit with other schools. I don't do a lot of comparison with school, I look at data. You know, we look at the schools around us, you know, the diocesan schools, we're about the same numbers. 550, 580, 570. Let's be honest, all our numbers have dropped. But we're trying to raise ours. And if you look at the numbers a couple years ago, it was 200-something kids in this. You look at the graduation pictures out there, it was only like 35 or 40. This class that's out here now is what, 103 senior class this year? That's gonna be great. If we get that 124 and that 135 to continue to go through, and we match that, we're looking at about 600 kids walking through these doors. That's our goal, that's my goal. And again, it is not about me. If you ever walk down that hallway and you see my office always dim, it's not about me. I'm a shadow guy. I like to do the work and be present. Because I don't mind, I like what I do. I never stand in the hallway and say, this is my school. No. All the praises go to the team and always go to the teachers. You have to praise the teachers. I see teachers one-on-one and say, hey, you did a great job today. Thank you so much. Because again, I got to boost their spirits. I got to build them up. You know, a lot of teachers say, well, he didn't say that to me. Your turn coming. You know, you just have to be that guy that when they least expect it, hey, you noticed that? Yes, I noticed that. Because again, I do watch the cameras. I do watch the hallways. I want the best for the school. And like I said, there's a lot of things we're working on rigor-wise and trying to implement more things in. I'd love to get some more college courses in here. You know, if we're gonna become a college prep school, that's the goal, we need to add more. Our kids gotta be ready for that. You know, you look at these schools that's putting these college prep, these kids getting all these associate degrees before they even walk out of school. You know, that's where we should be at. Yes, it's hard, it's a lot of work. But guess what? My wife like that I'm at work, so I get busy, you know, I get it done. You know, I pray a lot, like Tom, I pray a lot. You know, I am Catholic, born and raised Catholic. I believe in what I do. And I think my action speaks louder than words. You'll see, and there's a guy out here in the audience, he sees me in the hallways. He always smiles and say, keep it going, and I keep it going. Because again, presence makes a difference. And I'll be honest, the students here, they beginning to buy in and trust me. And I'm not talking about 50, I'm talking about we are almost 90%. Hey, Mr. Jones, how you doing? What's going on today? Mr. Jones, can we have a t-shirt day? Mr. Jones, can we go? You know, we implemented a program where we got 12 kids leaving this school every Wednesday going to tutor at our surrounding Catholic schools. That's a part, and a lot of people don't know that's a part of marketing, because they're in their uniform and they're going to tutor 1st through 4th graders. So that 1st or 4th grader gets to say, I want to go to VASJ one day. We got kids at Robinson Williams, Our Lady of the Lake, and St. Jerome. Program that the past administration, the McKeon Foundation, they put together. And I thought it was a great idea, so I wanted it to be here. So we got 4 students every Wednesday, leave out in the morning, go work at different schools. So these young people can see what we offer. And no, I don't pick the best and say, you go. I just took a bunch of kids and say, hey, how about this kid, how about this kid? Let's do this. Ms. Markson did say, okay, well, I said, Ms. Markson, we gotta just give him a chance. And it's been promising ever since then. So again, we've been blessed with that. And I'm gonna let Ms. Markson talk about a little bit about the academics, because that is her show. Even though I like to get in her show, that's her pet peeve. I do dip in it. She get mad at me, but it's something I love too.
Thanks, Lorenzo.
All right, I'm going to be a little more brief. Yeah, the curriculum is something that we're looking at. It's been something that we're evaluating. Like I said, I've been here for quite a few years. I've been through the ups and downs. This is my neighborhood school, so I definitely want to see it be successful. I also want to see it be successful because I have 2 sons that graduated from here, and I currently have a student enrolled in the school. So that's high stakes for me. We are currently in our accreditation program this year, so we're being accredited by the Ohio Catholic Schools Association. And one of the things that is part of our improvement plan is working on critical thinking skills. It is an absolutely necessary life skill for our students. The days of rote memorization are long, long gone. And we really do need to work on the whole child and building critical thinking skills and making all of those connections from one subject to another subject and then out into the real world. So we are really focusing on that. We are looking at a lot of different programs to be able to bring into the school. We're looking at partnerships in the community, partnerships with businesses in the community. And we are also looking to bring in more CCP classes and partner with a couple of different schools. We do already have CCP classes in the building. Our robotics and our drones program is an example. We have a TEALS program, which is an introduction to computer science. We are looking to grow that program as well. And so it is a slow process. We want to be methodical about it. We want to make sure that we're building the foundation and doing all the scaffolding in order to make sure that everything is in place, that those programs can be solid and they can be long lasting, and that we can continue to build on them and continue to get our students buy-in and get them involved in those programs so that they can go out into the community and be a part of our community and be a productive member. We are looking for them to go out into the world, and like Mr. Jones said, they're not all just going to college. There's a lot of other things that are offered out there. So we want to make sure that whatever they do when they leave here, they have the critical thinking skills and they have the life skills that they need in order to be successful. And that's really our focus. So we are evaluating everything that we have in the building right now. And we've had numerous conversations as a team about where we want our academics to go and how we want our academics to grow. And this accreditation process and the improvement plan that we're putting in place is one small part of that. And then once we have that in place, then we're also going to be getting a lot more buy-in and a lot more feedback from all of our stakeholders, which includes all of our parents, all of our alumni, our current students, and our teaching staff. We have a great teaching staff. I can say that confidently. Of course, I come from the teaching staff, so I am a little biased. But I really think we've got some great teachers in place, and I do think that they have more to give, and I think that we need to probably look a little bit at the teachers and see where their best fit is and where their best passion is, and maybe we need to move them around a little bit in order to get them into that niche where they're most comfortable in making sure that our students are growing, because we do need to push our kids. Society is pushing all of us, and the technology is way ahead of even some of our students. They all have those little computers in their hands, and they think they're completely proficient until one day it doesn't turn on, and then they don't know what to do with it. And those are the kinds of skills that we need to make sure they know what to do with those computers, and they know how to do everything other than just TikTok in the hallways. So which sometimes we do, and maybe I've done one or two myself. Don't look those up. Please don't look those up. But we do need to work on what we can give our kids, because it really is about our kids. I love these kids. I have my own biological children, but when people ask me how many kids I have, I say I have 450, because I do. I love them. And I love the school. And we really want to make sure that we're successful.
Thanks, Patty. We'll get to Kelly and Mike when we get into the questions. As you can tell, we could talk about this place probably the rest of the night. But keeping in mind that we did say we would keep this to an hour, we're going to move forward with, and I know, Vince, you have to get off here soon, so I want to jump into the capital campaign for a minute. And again, some of the things that we have already completed, they probably weren't on anybody's radar screen, but I can remember first week here walking through the building, and I walked into the girls' locker room downstairs, and I said, "What is this?" They said, "It's girls' locker room." No, it's not. I said, "Do the girls use it?" No, of course they don't. I wouldn't use it. So we're just about done. It's been gutted and remodeled, and my poor CFO, I have him talking to himself because my favorite line is, it's our job to find a way to get it done. It's easy to say it's not in the budget. Well, we're going to find the money, and we really have for most of it. But now the girls have a place to call home. And it wasn't just the locker room. It was they call it the ready room. And we're going to be moving some offices around for some of the coaches because there's other things we need to do to make good use of our space. And not just make good use of it, but make us proud. So when a 7th, 8th, 6th grader, whoever walks through this building, we want them to leave here saying, I want to go there. So I'm excited about that. But the campaign itself, when I accepted the position, and I was told that they're in the middle of a $5.5 million campaign, which, as far as anyone knows, was the first one, if not ever, at least in a long time. And then to find out as of this morning that we're broaching $5.3 million, just, I was speechless. And as you can tell, it's hard for me to be speechless. But knowing that we're almost there, but there's always something, right? And when again, being a numbers guy, and I brought it to the committee, and everybody knows this, I didn't tell them anything they didn't know. But do we know 5.5 is going to do it with the world we live in today? Because everywhere you go, the prices have really gone up, and let alone supply and demand. When will you get and what will you get? We are going to continue. We still have the class challenge here is amazing. The competition between the classes, I love it. It's amazing. Bi-monthly we give an update, and then guys get excited and say, well, we're not going to let that class win. We have to win. And make no mistake about it, the people that are surrounding and being part of this campaign have made this happen. None more than Vince, who's on the line with us. As Lorenzo said earlier, Vince is all about education, as we all are. But for him and his wife to put their money where their mouth is, and we're going to put a STEM lab here, and that's going to happen as soon as we can get it going, and we can find a location that we're going to put it, knowing that somebody's probably not going to like it. I learned that early in this career that I can't make everyone happy. We do the best we can, keeping in mind what's best for the students. So again, Vince, I'm going to turn this over to you. I know you have to leave shortly, and I can't thank you enough. I'm telling you, this guy, you think he's a full-time employee. Well, he is a full-time employee, and I love it because his pay rate is zero. So, Vince, I'll give it to you.
Do we get a pay raise shortly after this, Tom?
I'll triple it.
Thank you. I apologize I can't be in Cleveland. Been running a campaign from Breckenridge, Colorado, where my wife and I live, and we moved out here a number of years ago. But let me just say, VASJ is a special place. I graduated from the class of '69. There was 500 guys in my class, 2,000 guys total in this school. I got reacquainted with the school probably about 6 years ago when one of my classmates, Rich Osborne, became president and asked me to come in and do a tour. And I just was blown away about how well the school had been maintained and the special nature, the environment, the culture that was there in the school just permeated down the hallway. So I got re-engaged. My wife and I both have been re-engaged with Catholic education for a long time. The campaign that Tom's going to talk about was, its beginnings really were probably 3 years ago when a group of about 40 to 50 Board of Advisors, students, teachers, parents got together and worked on a year-long strategic planning process. And from that strategic planning process came a whole series of recommendations. And those recommendations were boiled down to be solely be focused on education and creating the learning environment for the students there at VASJ. So Tom will go through the details. Everything is focused on the students, and I am just excited. We've had a great reception, as Tom said. 5.3, we got 200,000 to go. We've done that in less than 8 months, and it's really through a combination of alum that wanted to get re-engaged, a staff at the school that has just been amazing, Pat and Tom, and then Rich himself, who is retired, who have all been very, very active. So I've been excited about working on this. It's going to be a complete remake of the school. We're not only doing the physical nature of the school, but as Patty and Lorenzo said, we're looking at the core curriculum of the school, and hopefully 1 to 2 years, 3 years from now, people will walk in there and just be shocked at the changes and what's occurred. So, Tom, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Vince, and enjoy that birthday party. Because, again, we're going to leave this to an hour. We want to get into the questions here shortly. Just a quick few points on the campaign. You can see the major renderings behind us. So the front of the building is getting, I'm sorry, Patty, all new windows. I'm happy to say that the doors are just about to be on order. My hope was to have new doors and fix some of the building before the snow flies. Again, with the supply issues today, I'll keep my fingers crossed, but we're probably looking at early spring before the doors are in. But again, all new doors, and then all new windows throughout the entire school. The new atrium in the back of the building, which is right there. And then you can see some of the classroom renovations, STEM lab, et cetera. That's a rendering of what we hope it will look like soon. Now, when I say soon, the entire project's probably a 3-year, if not more, time frame, again, due to the supply issues and all the things that we already know. But what order are we going to go? I mean, we believe, obviously, the doors are going to happen. We want to get the windows going, hopefully in the spring. And more importantly for us, for me, and what we saw this summer, and many of you were aware of, it gets so hot in this building, God bless our kids. And so we are putting AC throughout the building, new heating and air. And as far as I'm concerned, I hope we can do an entire floor at once. We just recently hired an architectural firm that's putting some final details together. And I know it makes sense. You do one side of the building and then the other. I said, please let me know what it'd take to do one floor at a time, because the third floor has to get done. I mean, it's incredible how hot that floor gets. And so, again, that's just a brief understanding of what we're about to undertake. I'll be happy to answer any more questions. If not tonight, call the school anytime. I will call you back. If you want to come in and talk more about it, I'm all about that. And, you know, as far as hitting 5.3, really, if anybody has that inkling that you need to write a $200,000 check tonight, I'll be happy to take it. And then we can move on and look what the inflation rate's going to do and see what we really need. But again, thank you, those in the room that have helped. It's just been a major undertaking, and I'm so impressed that, again, I'm lost for words. So I want to get into these questions because we have 15 minutes left. There's some great questions, and we're going to answer them. And then hopefully there'll be some time left that you can ask any other questions. But based on the question that was asked is who on the panel is going to answer it. And I'm going to start off with Kelly, who can read the first question, and you're on the clock.
I'll make it fast. Okay, so our first question that came in was, where does VASJ rank academically and enrollment-wise compared to other schools of similar size and structure in Northeast Ohio? So first of all, we're one of 5 diocesan-owned high schools in the Diocese of Cleveland, and enrollment-wise and academically, we're very competitive with them. Our full school enrollment is at 456 students. I want to give a personal thank you to every family that I know we have some parents here currently that have their student here specifically in the freshman class. 135 students coming off of a year of COVID where my open houses were virtual, my shadow days were virtual. I was able to maybe do a handful of tours one-on-one with families. I also was on maternity leave for half the year. So I want to thank you for your commitment and faith in Catholic education, because 135 students coming off of a year of COVID is huge. So I want to thank you all personally for that, because Catholic education is something I can explain and talk about it for hours, but your experience in it is really what sells you on it. So thank you for your commitment to it. But academically and enrollment-wise, like Tom said, we're going to continue to get those numbers higher so that we can get to over that 500 student mark and be more competitive when it comes to the enrollment size. But as for the 5 diocesan-owned schools, we're all on the same level when it comes to enrollment and academics.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was going to say we touched. Okay, so the next question is, what innovative ideas are being considered for the future to keep the school growing and up to date with technological advances and changes or obstacles in the education arena? So we definitely have already touched on these a little bit. We are expanding our, well, I'm not even expanding, but we are implementing a STEM program. We will be opening our STEM lab, which is really a huge piece of the puzzle for us. We are looking to partner with more of our local colleges. Right now we have a relationship with Tri-C and also with Notre Dame, but we are looking to partner with some other schools to get them in with some of the CCP classes and have them on campus, and also perhaps have some of our students going off campus. As Mr. Jones touched on in terms of Chromebooks, we are looking to expand that program so that we can go one-to-one with devices for all of our students. And the other part of that is, does VASJ offer a vigorous education experience? And how do we grow that vigor and challenge today's Vikings academically? Well, that's the $1,000 question, right? So that's exactly what we're working on by partnering with these businesses and partnering with local colleges and opening our STEM lab and putting together this academic excellence team that is putting an entire improvement plan in place and a timeline so that we can make sure that we are competitive and that we are not just competitive with the schools around us, but that we are leading the schools around us and that they're looking to us as the bellwether. And that's really our goal. So it is a process. We are looking at a 3 to 5 year process with that, but we absolutely believe that we can put that in place. And I think with the team that we've got together here, we're absolutely going to make that a reality.
Thanks, Patty. There was a question about any plans to reinstate industrial arts into the curriculum, and I'll answer that real briefly again. I am in the process of meeting with many local companies with the help of the mayor of Euclid, who's been amazing and willing to help me get those introductions. I can tell you that I've already had one meeting with Euclid Hospital, part of Cleveland Clinic, in a program that has to do with young ladies who might be interested in going into nursing. I have another meeting with her scheduled next week. And so those are the kind of things we're going to do. Are we going to put, industrial arts back in the building? Yeah, I'll be honest, that's not the plan right now. But we know that's a very critical part of our future. We need folks to be in those trades. So how can I work with some of the local companies as I get to meet them and hope that there's an internship or something similar we can do? Another program that I like to bring into the school, and it's going to take some work because it's a great program, but it's a lot of work. and it's called a capstone project. And I've done that for many years in my former life. In the last 2 or 3 weeks of the school year, the seniors will go out for those 2 or 3 weeks every day working with local companies to understand, is that really what I want to do? And it's amazing how the alums come out to help. The student has to have a sponsor that's on staff. I've been privileged that I've always taken at least 10 students. I had to cap it off because it's a lot of work for the sponsor too. But I took a point to go out and meet with them twice or 3 times at the location. And it's amazing that a student might be there for a week and say, I think I want to do something else, Mr. Perron. Or absolutely fall in love with it and go off. And just a couple of folks ended up on Wall Street. And I tease them now, I'm still in contact. I go, well, remember, I made that connection. So, you know, if you want to give some money to VASJ, and then the question is, Mr. Crone, what are you doing at VASJ? And I say, well, because it's a great school. But again, those kind of programs we hope to bring here. It's not going to be tomorrow, but we hope to do it as soon as we can. I'll hand it over to Lorenzo for a few of these questions. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So one of the questions was, how can a parent check the status of parent volunteer hours, which offset out-of-pocket tuition costs? So Christine McManus, that works in the admissions office with me, is actually in charge of our parent volunteer program. There is a page on the website that we update with any opportunities for parents to get those volunteer hours. Due to COVID, things kind of slowed down a little bit in the volunteer roles and bringing volunteers into the building. Once we're kind of hitting back to some sort of normalcy, any opportunities that we have will be posted on the website. She also will send out emails of opportunities to parents that she has. You can get $10 an hour, and we offer up to 750 hours to work off your tuition. This can also be applied toward the athletic side too. So if your student participates in any of the sporting events and you work a game, taking tickets, anything like that, we can work with that as well. So the hours get given to our finance office. They work it out, put it on your statement, and then send it to you so that you're updated. $750. You have to work 750 hours to get the 75 hours. Thank you, Brian. No. And if any of you know Gary Minadio, he'll tell you about his math experience with me while I was a student here at VASJ.
Thanks. Another question that came up, and again, I'm happy to bring the status to you. How many COVID cases have we struggled with this year? And I'm happy to say that we were we were the first school in the diocese early in the summer. We put the mandate out that you have to wear a mask. And believe me, I guess we get some calls from other administrators, and I said, look, you're free to do what you want to do at your school. We don't run your school, but we're going to be safe here. We have teachers with health problems, et cetera, and we're going to wear masks. So as of yesterday, we've had 23 students, and we've had 3 staff members. Unfortunately, 2 of those staff members have been pretty severe, and it breaks my heart to know what they've been going through. So yes, we will continue to wear masks for now until Lorenzo and I see that the numbers are better than they even are. And the fact of the matter is, I don't think anybody knows what may happen the rest of this winter. We certainly hope and pray this thing gets behind us and we can do away with the mask, because I know it's not fun. It's not. And it's challenging. But that's where we are to date. I already talked about some of the programs that connect with alumni, with current students. It's the same programs I've talked about. And Lorenzo's going to grab this.
One of the questions was, how does the school continue to improve diversity and inclusion efforts among its staff and students, and what programs are available, and what are our goals overall for the student body and population? Right now, the diocese have I put the school in a program called Cultural Humility, which they come out and work with us and talk about the culture and racism and not being Catholic, the kids, because you have to look at what we're talking about, because a lot of people say, well, he's not Catholic and he can go to Catholic school, but we're here for the child's education. We're not going to take away from we're not taking away from Catholicity. but at the same time, you have those questions, and that's considered a culture thing. It's considered a diversity thing. And that's amazing how the diocese put it all together, which I didn't quite understand until I went to the program. It's a young man from St. Edward's, James McKnight. He's coming out every quarter to go over the diversity programs and how we want to proceed going through. I'm gonna be very candid. I think one of the biggest things that VASJ has going on right now is myself as an African-American leader in the diocese. You don't have a lot of African-American leaders in the diocese, period, or in Catholic schools around Northeast Ohio. I've been the only one for the last 12 years, and I just helped a young man who's a grad, 2005 grad, Harry Blythewood. He's the principal at Holy Name Elementary. I helped him get in. So again, I'm a part of the racism team downtown on the diocese. We're really pushing to bring them African-American teachers in. So these kids have some of the same faces. We're not trying to change the school. That's not my job. My job is to make sure they educate. But again, sometimes they need to see their own faces at times. And I think, like I say, the boys walk down the hallway, they look at me and be like, oh, he's just like us. And again, they can get where I'm at if they choose to do the right thing. But again, we've been working with the staff with that. He comes out, talks to the staff. He really liked what he see. He liked what they asked. He's been on the phone with me a couple of times. He's actually asked me to come speak at a few things. I'm gonna be very honest, my schedule's so tight, I can't get to those things, but once I get the school into play, it should. I love to do that, get out there more. And I love to see more of our kids come and become teachers here. I mean, look at Kelly, who was here, and now she's back. I love to see some of these kids come back and say, hey, I like to teach at VASJ. Look what they did for me. I had the opportunity to work with a kid who won the Super Bowl, London Fletcher. He's a Joe's guy, and he was shocked. He's on the board of John Carroll when he found out I was the principal. He was like, whoa, you know, that's great. You know, he's still stunned about it. He had to touch me to make sure I was real, you know. Come on, man, don't touch me, it's okay. But I have not ran into a diversity or culture problem here at this school. No one's came to me, and I'm gonna be honest, my door is open. I am an open door policy. Parents walk in, students walk in, everybody who work here walk in. But I don't mind that because again, that's what I'm here for. I mean, the questions that come to my office is, can we dress down, you know? That's the $1 million question around here. But there's kids who walk in and say, Ms. Jones, how you doing today? So-and-so did this and my teacher don't like me. I deal with those things. First thing they said, the teacher don't like me. That's my favorite, I love. But what did you do? Oh, well, you know, I was talking when she was talking. Oh, okay. So I give them a little story about that, and that you see where I'm coming from? They're like, yeah, I get you, Mr. Jones, I get you. But again, you know, you push that out the way because the first thing, and then you got a few parents say, well, this teacher don't like my kid. That's my favorite. I love that because again, I say, she drove past 35 schools to come here not to like your kid. I'm not trying to be funny. She drove past 35. Well, how you know that? Because in my head, I counted what schools are there. I know where she live at. We got a couple of teachers ride past 81 schools to get here, not to like your child. Let me tell you something. Public school make way more money than us. People come to Catholic school, you got to love it. And this is what I love to do. Principal salaries in public school, I'm gonna be very honest. Yes, I had the opportunity to go to public school. 6 figures? Oh my gosh. I'm not gonna tell that story, but guess what? This is why I was born and raised Catholic. I want to make sure I bring it back. So we have not ran into that problem. I'm hoping not to run into that problem. But I'll be honest, I'm prepared for it. I really am. My wife, you know, a lot of people don't know my wife is not African American. She's white. And everybody like, oh, wait a minute. But again, we've been married 27 years. I've seen it. I've been talked about. I don't care. That's my wife. I love her to death. It is what it is. So again, you can't just project what you see. You know, I was talking to a kid today about Obama. Obama could be the president, you can too. It's not about color no more. Put that aside. You can do it. He did it. You can do it. So put it aside. Put that aside. Stop thinking about this way because TV influenced you the wrong way. I mean, let's be honest. You watch the news every day. I don't watch the news. I cannot stand it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a Hallmark guy. You know, it's Christmas time. It's Christmas time. I'm never gonna lie. It's Christmas time. You know, I'm a little cheesy at times. Don't get me wrong. I still lift weights and all that. Don't get me wrong. But I'm a little cheesy. But again, I can't stand the news. You know, it make all of us look bad. You know, I mean, think about what social media has done to us now. I ain't never had a cell phone when I was a kid. You had to learn your phone number and your friends call you, and if your mama didn't let you talk, you couldn't talk. And you better not interrupt her phone call. So that was our cell phone. So again, social media, TV has put us in a negative position, and I don't believe it's that way. So again, I do pay attention when I walk through these halls. But if you walk through these halls, these kids having conversations, they ain't looking at that. They're having a good time laughing and giggling, talking about my head shining. You know, a couple of guys, I can't think of his name, but he like, Mr. Jones, the top of your head be shining. I told him, hey man, that's that baby oil in the Cadillac shine. That's that shine. But again, I pay attention to all those type of things, and that's a part of the job, because I do not want that to come to this school. Never. I never want to see that. So we are aware. We are working with the diocese. This is a diocese initiative program, and it's not just diocesan schools, it's all independent schools too. So it's out there. It's being looked at, and the diocese is taking a big, strong push on this right now, and I'm following right beside them. I am a part of the team, like I said, and I'm enjoying it. Again, we have to look at those type of things. You know, this culture in this world right now, we're seeing these things, but that's not the world. Somebody asked the question, what strategies will be implemented to improve and enhance some of the weaker sports programs? Yes, our football team is hot. Yeah, it's hot. Yes, our basketball team is usually always great. But everybody say, what about the swim team? What about the cross-country team? But if you paid attention, the golf team did great. Young lady went to the States. Come on, she beat the boys. But she went to the state. You know, how many times you get to say that? You know, and that's what some people consider a weaker sport. All we can do is build and grow. If we get the rigor way we want, we'll bring those athletes here. They'll come in all sports. Track team was great last year. I was at graduating and got their awards. I'm like, wow, you can still build. But again, if we put the rigor in the right spots, they're gonna come. Your athletes gonna come. Your program will grow. Yes, I'm at 90% of things. I know the golf coach didn't see me, but I was at one of the golf meets. I was at a cross-country meet, and I don't even know where it's at. I got lost getting there. But I try to be at all the kids. The kids will tell you, oh, Mr. Jones. The girls' soccer team went crazy when they saw Mr. Jones over there. I try to be at 90% of the things so they know I care. You know, you have to make a presence. You know, Tom told me a story about he went to baseball at his old place, his old school. He went down in the dugout, and the coach took the whole team and said, this is a miracle, a history in the making. The president has come to see y'all play. And the kids cheer because they've never seen that. These kids be like, Mr. Jones, you gonna be there tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be there. My wife be like, are you coming home? I'm like, I gotta go to the game, I'm sorry. But that's what they care about. That's the presence you make. That builds programs when they know you care. And I'm not talking about the parents. They know their parents care, but they want to make sure you know too. You know, if you can say, hey, that move last week when you cut through there was great. When you shot that jump shot, why did you hit her with that pick that hard? You know, they love it. Mr. Jones, you was watching. Yeah, I was watching. But at the same time, every kid will tell you when they walk past me, I say, how those grades go? Oh, Mr. Jones, I got the test. No, don't slow down. Tell me how it went. And one kid asked me probably 2 weeks ago, he said, why you always ask about our grades? I care, because that's your ticket, that's your meal ticket. So again, those programs are built, and we are looking at how to build them. But at the same time, I really believe you build the school, the programs will fall in place. And that's my goal, is to look at that too. But again, if Ms. Markson, Mr. Galvin, Mr. Crone, and Ms., I don't know how to say her last name. I'm not gonna tell that story. Kelly, if we build this program together, I just say ski at the end. But if we build this program, the kids are coming. And that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of kids, I mean, I'm proud of what Kelly has done. We done had over 100 shadows already, 100 plus. I mean, it's just, every time I'm looking up, it's shadow. There's a new kid, and I'm like, she go here? Now, I thought I saw everybody now, but she bringing in, they coming. They like what's going on right now. So again, I want to make sure that continue to happen.
Thanks, Renzo. We'll answer a couple of more of these, and then we'll open the floor. We'll be very brief. I'll answer the last one. I'll answer off the pre-event questions. And believe me, if I make the joke that if I had $1 for every time I've been asked this question, we would be at $6 million. And I get it. I totally get it. And the question is, when's the turf and the new stadium coming? You know, athletics has been my life. I played football, baseball, and basketball, believe it or not. And yes, I'm not as tall as Lorenzo, but I still think I can take him. But again, it is important. And it's not important just for football. Going through that in my prior life, not once but twice, because turf lasts about 10 years. So I've been through that twice. There's nothing, I can't even put in words the excitement it brings to a community, and it sounds silly, but a new turf field and someday hopefully a stadium, absolutely that's on the radar, okay? And some people said, well, you went through, they had the strategic plan, why isn't it part of this campaign? Well, again, as we've been talking about the academic side of things in this 70-year-old building, there's things that have to be done. And if we thought for a minute we could raise another 5, 6, 7 million and do that now, I assure you we'd be talking about it. And I do realize that money does come. At least in my former life, it seems to be easier to raise money for something like that. But the worst thing you can do is not be prepared, not raise enough money, and then not be able to do it. And again, I'm not just talking about football. That field can be used for so many things. And it is exciting. So it's on the radar. When's it going to happen? I wish I could answer that. Right now, we have to get through this campaign. We have to get these projects in line. And then we can start some serious discussions about what can we do with a field. And more importantly, where should we put it? Because I can tell you, talking with the CEO over at the hospice, Western Reserve Hospice, and I agree with him. I mean, can you imagine a football stadium 100 yards from folks that are suffering with how they are? He makes a good point. You know, the flip side for me would be, well, maybe they get excited about seeing that on Friday nights. I don't know. I'm being honest. You know, I mean, in having my mother go through hospice and relatives, it's awful. But, you know, I understand what he's saying. So what else can we do? Because I think a stadium, turf field here at VASJ is important. And whoever wrote the question, I appreciate how they wrote it. It's 2021. When are we getting turf? I understand the frustration, and I've only been here 4 months. But, again, you can see what we're going to do. And another big part of this campaign is scholarship. To me, the most important part. I know what scholarships did for me when I was a young man. I know what it's done for many kids that wouldn't be able to come here. So let's get all that in line. And yes, let's have that discussion sooner rather than later about what we can do. And if there's any board of advisors listening, I'm not going out on a limb and saying we're doing a stadium right now. I'm just saying it's something that has to be on the radar because it is critical, I believe, to the future of the school. So with that, if Patty and Kelly can answer a couple of questions. Mike, I didn't find one for you yet. Sorry, we're going to find something. I'll just make one up.
Oh, yeah, sure. So someone asked about, has anyone researched options for the morning drop-off traffic flow? Is there a better way to keep students and traffic flow safe? Students who park in the lot and walk into school continue to cross traffic. It's hard to see oncoming traffic around the bump out of the building. The short answer is no, but it's true. I drive through there all the time. I see it as a problem. I see it in my job here, and our job here, especially this first year, is to make sure this building is safe. And one of the things is certainly the parking lot, the traffic flow, egress, ingress, lighting, locks, okay, is the building secure? And certainly what's going on in the parking lot would be something, one of those things as well. What can we do? And it probably is going to be connected somehow to the front, any kind of permanent thing done. But maybe we mentioned crosswalk, okay, so that at least the students are confined to where they're crossing. Better lighting. But yeah, it is a problem. We have no quick answer to that. But again, I would put it in the bigger picture of, as we're going through the year here and seeing what's going on here, is this building as safe as it can be for students? Okay.
All right, thanks, Mike. One of the questions we got was, what community outreach and service work projects are planned for the upcoming year? First of all, I want to give a shout out to Brianna Wilson and Kristen Coughlin, who are campus ministers. They've done a wonderful job in taking our campus ministry program and making it grow leaps and bounds. So I want to thank them, first of all, I know Brianna's here, for their hard work with that. That being said, each student is responsible for service hours every year. And that is where Brianna and Kristen are huge players in that. They find events and places such as hospice, the food bank, things of that nature for these students to go and complete their service hours. In the past year, they also have grown service projects within the building for them to work on. So after school on Thursdays, they can go up to the loft area and work in the garden fellowship in the courtyard, which Brianna has changed completely into a wonderful use of space for our students and for our teachers. Each year, the students participate in their service hours. When you come to your senior year, there's Christmas on campus and Christmas in the Village, which is put on by Cheryl Stashenko, a classmate of mine in 03, our alumni director. And then Halloween on campus, where students from local grade schools come into the building, visit, or do the track or treat, where they trick or treat on the track in the outside of the building. So there's a lot of opportunity for our students yearly, and campus ministry is a big reason why we have those.
Thanks, Kelly. And one of the other questions was, what special events will the senior class do for their final year, and do they need parent volunteers? So obviously their senior year is a really exciting time. We do several different things for our seniors. They do senior picnics. They do the baccalaureate and the senior luncheon, where they do all of their awards, and they vote for, the best of in their class. And of course, there's always senior prank day. That's particularly a wonderful day in the building. But this year, because we were unable to do a lot of those things, actually the past 2 years with our seniors, we are looking at what we can do for our seniors even beyond that. The second part of that, do we need parent volunteers? I'll be perfectly honest with you. We don't usually use parent volunteers for our senior events. It's usually a time for the seniors to spend time together as a class, to kind of have their last hurrahs at the end of the school year. We do have some teachers, faculty members, staff members that are involved in those events, but even that is a little bit hands-off. And we let the students do a lot of the planning for those events, and then we kind of let them have some fun. Particularly at the end of the senior year, we let them have some fun. So, and then of course the big event for them is, for parents, the big event is graduation. For them, the big event is prom. So, so prom is always, sort of the culminating event at the end of the year. And again, we don't use any parent volunteers for that. In fact, we use very minimal faculty and staff the students have the opportunity to invite faculty and staff members in the building that means something to them as a class, and then they join them for prom, and it's more of a social event for the faculty and staff that are invited with the students. So there's more information to come on that once we get past Christmas and the seniors really start working on their student councils already talking about all kinds of crazy ideas. So I'm sure that they're going to be coming to the administration and talking about what events they want to cover. But regardless, I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun for them. So
Thanks, Patty. As far as volunteers go, since it came up, we are going back to Continue to Dream this year. It's April 30th, and we need a lot of help. And we had a Zoom meeting, I don't remember what day, this week, last night. It's bad, the days just blend together. But again, we're going to make it fun, exciting, and we can't wait to get the committees going. And Ms. Pat Egan, our Director of Advancement, is in charge of that event. And so again, if you would like to be a volunteer, please contact Pat or any of us here, and we can talk more about it. With that said, I want to open it up to the floor before we conclude. If there's any other questions, hopefully we answer a lot of your questions. But again, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand, and we'll do the best we can to answer it.
Is there any plans to reinstate the plays or do musical in the near future or next year?
Yes, there's plans for that. Actually, a young man talked to me today about it. I am researching getting that together, but the concern was COVID. When we walked into the door, that's where there's not a lot of clubs and things. Safety of our kids was most important. Again, I watched the numbers to make that decision. Right now, if I had my way, we'll be walking into the drama because there's a bunch of kids asked about the drama and play programs. I love that type of stuff. So again, I'm working on that, and hopefully in the new year, in January, I can get that going. But again, I have to pay attention because it's wintertime, and they're saying the numbers might spike. So the numbers was high in August. They went down. They stayed at a plateau, but now they're talking about winter. And again, this is cold and flu season. So again, I have to be very cautious with that. And like I told the young man, I love to do it, but I have to be very careful with it. Again, we've been blessed with the lowest numbers out of the diocese schools with COVID. When we went mask mandate, that was the best thing we ever did. Because there are schools that had to close for a whole week with 75 kids with COVID. So again, I'm gonna do my best to make sure that happens, especially for this kid because he's a senior. And I love to see him up there acting because he already acts in the hallway. So I want to see him. I'm serious. He's a good kid. I want to see that. But I'm going to do my best to bring it back as soon as I can. And a lot of other clubs, too, because they are asking about him again. And like I tell them, and they be like, we understand, Mr. Jones. And I explain it to them when they ask me, we have to be safe. I believe if we take our masks off next week, we'll have more cases than what. I'm not going to take that chance with your children because I wouldn't want anybody to take that chance with my sons. So again, I have to be very cautious about that.
Thanks, Ronald. Any other questions?
I appreciate the talk about increasing rigor and adding AP and CCP courses. I do remember just a few years ago we had a student that went on to an Ivy League school. I don't remember her name or which school she went to, but that leads me to believe that we're probably in a pretty good place even before we're talking about all of these additions. My question is, which AP courses are you thinking of adding? Because I do think that your variety is pretty decent as it stands for this size of school. And then your CCP courses that you're offering in the building, I think we need to advertise them more because I didn't know that that was even happening, and I have a son that's a sophomore. The CCP classes that you'd like to add, would they be taught by VASJ staff members that qualify at the college, or are you bringing college staff members in to teach?
Okay, so I'll tackle the last one first and go backwards. The CCP classes are taught by faculty members in the building, with the exception of our TEALS program, which is the Introduction to Computer Science. That class is actually taught in conjunction with teachers from Cleveland State and a faculty member together. So if we have a faculty member that is able to teach the CCP class, that's our preference, so that we can do it here in-house. We do have some students that actually do CCP classes virtually. So they have a free period during the day and they actually go to the virtual classes, especially last year with COVID. there was a lot more opportunity for that. So that's one. And yes, I agree. We do need to advertise that a lot more, and definitely that's part of our plan. The AP classes, we do have a variety of AP classes. This year, we don't have AP Literature, which is our English literature class. That will be coming back next year. In a couple of years, I'd like to add AP Language to that as well. We have AP Chemistry, and we have AP Biology, but we don't run those always on the same years. It sort of depends on how many students we have enrolled in those. AP Government is a class that we've always had, but we are looking to get back our AP US History class that we lost when we actually lost some of our AP classes because of COVID, because the College Board backed off on a few of those classes. So we are looking to grow those AP programs. And yes, we do. I'm not saying we don't have rigor in our building, because we do. We just want to kind of up the ante a little bit and give our students those opportunities, and put them in that scholarship range, so that not only can they attend those Ivy League schools or those schools out of state if they want, but also so that they can get the scholarships necessary, so that they're not graduating with that overwhelming debt that so many kids are facing today with college.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
So, speaking about the pandemic and online teaching and learning, what programs and or practices do you have in place here to support the students with their social and emotional learning? Because a lot of these kids come to school with invisible backpacks, so to speak. So how are they getting the support while they're here in school?
Well, this is a Patty and Lorenzo question. We have a program, a foundation, I can't say foundation. We have a program called the McKeon Foundation that's a part of our school, that we have guidance counselors and directed study teachers that work with these kids. Every kid has the opportunity to go to the guidance counselor to bring their problems to us. They are confidential. They do meet with these kids on a regular basis. There are social skills classes they go to, and they have to go. There are some kids who say they don't need it, but again, we push them to go that way. It was here when I got here. I know the people who run it. They've been doing an excellent job since I've been here, and I do monitor that, because again, I have to look at how it's working, because social emotional learning it's a real problem, even with adults. Again, let's be honest. I have a few friends that's had to stop working because things going on in their life. But again, we've been blessed with a crisis team, with a directed studies group, a great special ed program. I'll be honest, this was here when I got here, and I've been monitoring. It's awesome. They're doing I hate to use this word, a H job. They're doing a good job. And they put in more hours than any of us. I mean, they're on the phone with certain programs. They're offering programs to parents. They're bringing things to the school. We also have programs like Characters for the young men and the young women to talk about where they want to be in life. Because a lot of kids don't know where they want to go. And the social skills is, the emotional part is tough. They've been on the TV screen watching for a long time. They're not used to that. So the social skills program, the social emotional part, is one of the best things that's happening, because kids are talking. They're not yelling, they're talking. And again, what I mean by not yelling, because they haven't been in front of each other, most kids got to get their word in first. They're talking. And that's a good thing. And they're not afraid to come down and talk about it. There's a slip at the front desk, they sign. They want to see who they need to, and we shift them right to that person. They can stop in the middle of the class and come down. Because again, this is important, because emotionally, we don't want to destroy a kid. We want to build him up. And if he got this support, that's what we got that for him. It's actually been pretty great dealing with that. I am a guru with that social emotional learning, because we started at my old school, and I was one of the people to be the keynote speakers and working with that. And my wife's a special ed director, so I steal a lot of her stuff. I'll be honest, I'm not gonna tell no story. I go home and be like, what you got for me? And she give me a lot of things to work with. So I've been blessed with that. I think we're doing an excellent job there. So again, kudos to the program and kudos to the teachers who opened the door and let them go downstairs to talk.
One other thing that I would add to that is we do have our guidance counselors that are awesome, but we also make sure that they connect with a lot of outside services as well. So if we need to bring some outside services in for those students, we do. Sometimes those services are virtual, so we have, we have some room for some space where the students can go and they can privately meet virtually with someone if they need to speak with someone. One of the other part of the social emotional thing is, as teenagers, because sometimes they're not as verbal as they might be. They act with their actions more than their words. So one of the things that that we've done is put together a peer mediation group. So if we have a student that's acting out, we want to find out if this is really a behavioral issue or if this is really an issue that maybe they need some help, and that's their best way to let us know. So we have students that actually have been trained in peer mediation, and we bring those students in. And rather than, punishing them, and rather than taking them to Mike Gavin and maybe us, suspending them or taking some action that way, we bring them in and have them meet with other students that have been trained peer mediators to see if there's another issue there that maybe we can help with, and maybe we don't have to go the punitive route.
Thanks, Patty. Thanks, Lorenzo. Any other questions? Yes.
What's the status of the school's endowment and what is it used for?
Okay, the school's endowment, the actual number escapes me right now. It's been a great year. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of $3.5 to $4 million. Much of the endowment, some of them is endowed scholarships. Some of it is obviously to help us run the school at the end of the year if needed. And that goes before the finance committee, the endowment board, and they have to say yay or nay. So that's about where it is in round numbers. And obviously a very important part of who we are and what we need. Any other questions? Again, go ahead.
So the back entrance here, is there anything, I mean, aesthetically it looks great. Is there anything inside there like a bookstore? I mean, because I know the steps are kind of right there. What else beside it looking nice on the outside will be in that space?
And again, some of that discussion is still going on, to be honest. But yes, there will be some differences on the inside as far as the stairwell, et cetera. Thank you for bringing up the bookstore. One of the things that, and again, maintenance guys, I do have someone else start my car right now, by the way. But it makes no sense to me where the bookstore is. And so that is hopefully going to happen, not hopefully, it's going to happen over Christmas break. I think they got our message. We're going to be making some moves. We hope to put the athletic director over in a technical building so someone's always there watching it. Put the bookstore back where it was there
so
when
that's towards the
right before you make the turn. Right.
So if people are attending a game, they can
Exactly. And again, we're making some changes on what we're going to offer in the bookstore. I think we're losing a lot of, it has to have some more spirit, so to speak. We got our first shipment yesterday, and another ship. Oh yeah, some of the shirts that came in today, I know I'm in trouble because I'm gonna buy every one of them. But again, those are all to be determined, I think, so to speak. But the bookstore is going to happen.
And part of that entryway is kids hang out. They're gonna have them plugs for their phones. Let's be honest. We try to accommodate them too. That entryway is their little sanctuary to meet and talk before they move on. Again, and also let me go back to that entryway. That's going to change some of the driving through the parking lot too. Again, once everything's in place, we'll be able to assess that parking lot again and put some signs, some cones, some mirrors, things like that to put. I mean, we just have to look at it because again, if you look at the entry, that's going to help with that bump going around that building. Parents come around and just go through. They're not going to be able to do that no more. They're going to have to go through that first lane, and that's going to cut a lot of that. And then when we put the walkway for the kids, because we are working on that, because first of all, we can't put it right now because the ground is still unlevel if you drove through the parking lot. Tom has 3 bids in for getting that whole thing repaved and leveled out and everything. Again, we got to find money for that, but we are working on it. Hopefully the diocese will help us out. They are involved, and they understand what we're going through. but we want to put walkways through there. So again, they can stay in those yellow lines. And again, let's be honest. Some of them gonna walk through the cars, let's just be honest. But a lot of them just gonna walk through there because they're gonna feel safe going through there. And if we put the right things in place, it should work out for us. Again, the back entry is gonna be different. Yes, ma'am.
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I was here for the October 1st reunion, and I was so proud. I purchased 2 license frames. I couldn't wait to put them on my car. I'm so happy to be part of the Viking family for Villa Angela and St. Joseph. I was just overwhelmed with what a great idea that is.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think this about a question.
You know what, it's a financial question. I was just wondering about the Ed Choice vouchers. I was wondering, I did not get a letter or correspondence to say that the check had come in, but that may be a question for Ms. Christine in the financial.
Yeah, because I do believe the checks did come in. It's been a lot of, there's been a lot of, I want to say delays, et cetera, with even that. I have presidents from other schools calling me saying, did you get your checks yet? I know they came in, but yeah, you'll want to just call the main office and ask for finance. And yeah, and they come in monthly now. So, yeah. Right. So, any other questions? You know, I just, in closing, and I know we went way over, but again, thank you so much for being here tonight. I mean, it's a passion we all have, and obviously you have it or you wouldn't be here tonight. So thank you so much. And thank you to the parents that are here today that have students here. Thank you for the parents that are here tonight that students were here. I get it. You have choices. You have choices. And the only promise we'll make you is that we give 150% every day. We really do. You know, people talked about the parking lot. We see that, about the kids' safety. Every morning, most mornings, Lorenzo's up here with Patty, and they welcome every student that comes in the front doors, and I'm at the back doors, and I firsthand see some of the kids trying to walk. Oh, he's the lotion guy. Yeah, so, I mean, everybody's, you know, I have to get my own, but he gets it for the kids. But again, thank you. And please come and visit. Don't hesitate to call us. If you have any questions that you didn't know, that we didn't answer, or you want to talk one-on-one, please call us. And I'm serious. The last thing I want to do is, and I know it was a few days ago, are there any veterans in the room? If there are, please stand up. I know we have one. Wow, that's right on. With that said, on Veterans Day, we were very fortunate enough to have Chuck Gordovich come and speak. We got a little something for you just to say thank you. His story was quite amazing.
My honor to be here. Kids are, it's unbelievable.
It's, wear that proudly. So again, and I'm not even going to begin to try and give his speech because it was amazing, but one thing that touched home with me is, you know, he was out of the military, and when all hell broke loose, excuse my mouth, anybody listening, I mean, he volunteered to go back. Thank you. Yeah, please take some food home. I mean, I know Lorenzo and I like to eat, but we're not going to eat all that. And again, please come and visit. Don't hesitate to call. Thank you so much, and God bless.